The Galactic Empire's threat. The stars glimmered silently in the dark sky above Earth, a quiet reminder of the vast galaxy beyond. Humanity had long known that the universe was teeming with life, and for centuries they had wondered whether they were truly alone, but no one could have predicted what was coming next. The galaxy's most powerful empire, a ruthless force that had dominated the stars for millennia, had turned its eyes on Earth. The empire, known for its vast fleets and unyielding control, had once dismissed Earth as a weak, insignificant planet. For centuries, humans had been left to their own devices, exiled and forgotten by the galaxy's great powers. But now, the empire was returning. They had come to demand tribute. The first message came through without warning. It arrived in the middle of the night, a simple transmission that echoed across the world's communications networks. The message was chilling in its brevity and clarity. The Galactic Empire demands tribute from Earth. Failure to comply will result in your destruction. Prepare to deliver your tribute or face annihilation. The world froze. No one could believe it at first. The message was clear, and its implications were terrifying. For centuries, humanity had quietly rebuilt itself, unaware of the galactic forces that once held power over them. But now, the true scope of the galaxy's power was becoming horrifyingly clear. Earth's leaders scrambled to respond. At first, many believed it was some kind of joke or threat that would fade into nothing. But the evidence was undeniable. The Empire's fleet was already on the move. Massive ships, dark and imposing, began to enter the edges of Earth's atmosphere. They had come, not to negotiate, but to enforce their will. In a high-security government meeting, military officials and world leaders gathered, their faces grave. General Turner, one of Earth's top military commanders, stood before the group, his mind racing. He had fought in countless battles, but this was unlike anything he had ever seen. This wasn't just a fight for territory, it was a fight for humanity's very survival. Prepare for the worst, General Turner said, his voice heavy with authority. The Empire does not make threats lightly. We need to know what we're up against. The leaders of Earth's military and government watched him closely, knowing that what they were facing could be their greatest challenge. The first step was to gather intelligence on the Empire's fleet. How many ships? What kind of technology? What were their intentions? Earth's advanced sensors had already begun to scan the alien fleet, but it wasn't enough. They needed more time, more information. Kira, a young scientist from Earth's top research division, stepped forward, her expression tense. I've studied the Empire's technology before, but this is different. Their ships are massive, far beyond anything we have. If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done it easily by now, but they're asking for tribute, not a full-scale invasion. The room fell silent as the implications of her words sank in. If the Empire simply wanted Earth gone, they wouldn't be wasting time sending messages. They could obliterate the planet with ease, but the message made it clear they wanted something, and humanity was left to wonder what it could possibly offer. What do they want from us? One of the leaders asked, his voice trembling. Kira shook her head, her mind racing with possibilities. That's the question. We have resources. Yes, but nothing they don't already have. The only thing we have that they might want is something unique, something they can't get anywhere else. General Turner's eyes narrowed. If they're here for resources, we'll have to give them something, but we can't simply surrender. We've faced threats before, and we've always fought back. We need to buy time, prepare our defenses, and figure out what they really want. The days following the message were filled with frantic activity. Earth's military forces were put on high alert. Satellites were scrambled to track the movements of the alien fleet, and all communications channels were monitored. But despite their best efforts, Earth's defenses were no match for the overwhelming power of the Empire's ships. The world waited in fear, unsure of what the Empire would do next. Would they attack immediately, or would they offer terms for negotiation? The uncertainty weighed heavily on everyone's minds. The people of Earth, once confident in their independence, now faced a terrifying reality. An empire far older and more powerful than they could have imagined had arrived. And they had come for Earth. As the alien ships drew closer, the tension in Earth's military headquarters mounted. General Turner stared at the holographic projection of the enemy fleet, his expression resolute. The odds were impossible, but there was no turning back. They had to fight for their survival. But one thing was clear: this wasn't just about defending Earth from a foreign invasion. This was about reclaiming humanity's place in the universe. The galaxy had forgotten them once, but now humanity would show them that they were far stronger than anyone had ever imagined. The time for negotiations had passed. The time for action had arrived. Earth was about to face its greatest challenge, and the consequences would echo throughout the galaxy for centuries to come. The first contact, a deadly message as the alien fleet grew closer. Earth's atmosphere became thick with anticipation. The gravity of their situation was undeniable. A species so advanced, so powerful, was demanding their submission. Humanity, once a forgotten species, now faced the impossible choice: surrender or fight for survival. The world's governments and military forces, who had spent years preparing for countless scenarios, had never imagined a situation like this. This wasn't a simple alien invasion. No, this was a message, an ultimatum. The Empire was here to collect their tribute, and Earth had no idea what they wanted, or how far they were willing to go to get it. The first sign of their true power came when the alien ships entered Earth's orbit. The ships were unlike anything humanity had ever seen: enormous, black, and ominous. They blocked out the light of the stars. Their size alone was enough to make Earth's leaders shudder. Each one of those ships could decimate entire cities without breaking a sweat, and yet, they made no move. They simply hovered in space, as if waiting for humanity to make the next move. The human military, which had once prided itself on its advanced technology, now felt the weight of their vulnerability. They had no way of knowing what kind of weapons these aliens possessed, how their shields worked, or if they even cared about Earth's defense capabilities. What could humanity offer that would make the Empire back down? A message came shortly after the fleet's arrival. It wasn't broadcasted to the entire world at first, only to the leaders of Earth's governments. The message was chilling in its simplicity: we are the Galactic Empire. We have come to collect tribute. Your planet's survival depends on your cooperation. Deliver the tribute or face complete destruction. Humanity had no idea what to do. They had no precedent, no previous encounters with an empire so vast and so advanced. A crisis of this scale was unprecedented. The world's leaders scrambled to formulate a response, their minds racing to find a solution, but no one had an answer. Earth's military strategists worked feverishly, deploying satellites to track the fleet's movements, trying to learn more about their technology and searching for weaknesses. General Turner, who had spent his career preparing for every possible threat, now found himself in uncharted territory. As he stared at the glowing holographic map of the alien fleet, he knew this was not like any enemy they had ever fought. His fingers drummed nervously on the table as he spoke. The message is clear. They expect us to comply, but we cannot just give in. If we do, what's to stop them from coming back for more? Earth cannot survive as a conquered planet. We have to decide what our answer will be, and fast. Kira, a young scientist working alongside the military leadership, stood up and addressed the room. I've been analyzing the data from their ships. They're not like anything we've encountered before. But they're not invincible. We might not have the same technology, but we have something they don't: the element of surprise. Her words gave the room a glimmer of hope, but the reality was still daunting. The fleet's presence was overwhelming. No one had expected this. No one had imagined the Empire's forces could arrive so suddenly and in such strength. General Turner was resolute, his voice hardening as he spoke. We don't know their true intentions. The message was vague, and we've got no intel on their capabilities. I'm not convinced they've come for just resources. They could wipe us out in an instant if they wanted, but that's not what they're doing. Why give us time? Why let us prepare? The silence in the room was deafening. The entire world now waited for their response. As military and government leaders rushed to devise a plan of action, there was no clear path forward, and the fear of the unknown began to weigh heavily on everyone present. As Earth's leaders prepared to discuss their options, a new transmission came in from the alien fleet. This time, it was broadcast to the public, every citizen able to hear the chilling message. The voice that came through was cold, authoritative, and utterly unyielding. Humanity, your time of obscurity is over. The Galactic Empire demands tribute. You will submit your resources, your technology, your greatest minds, and bow before the might of the Empire. Your refusal will result in destruction. We give you one final chance. Do not waste it. The impact was immediate. Panic spread through the streets. Social media exploded with fears and theories. People were torn between anger and disbelief. What could humanity do in the face of such power? Would they resist or surrender? News outlets speculated endlessly, but no one had answers. The entire planet was on edge, and every human felt the weight of what was coming. General Turner and Kira remained in the war room, unable to escape the gravity of the situation. This is no longer just about survival, Turner said quietly. This is about making a stand. We cannot let them see us as weak. Kira nodded. But even she could feel the uncertainty in the air. We have to understand them before we can make a move. They say they're here for tribute. But what does that really mean? Are they after resources, technology, or something else entirely? With time running out and the alien fleet waiting above them, Earth's leaders had no choice but to act. There was no way to know for certain whether they would survive this encounter. But one thing was clear: humanity had to make a choice. Would they surrender to the Empire's demands? Or would they rise to fight for their survival as Earth's fate hung in the balance? General Turner knew that the coming days would define humanity's future. One way or another, the time for silence was over. The Empire had made its move. And now it was Earth's turn to respond. The battle for Earth's survival was about to begin. The decision, do they fight? The days following the alien transmission were filled with uncertainty, fear, and intense discussions. Earth's leaders gathered in closed-door meetings, struggling to come to a decision that would determine the fate of the planet. The alien fleet hovered silently above them, and every passing hour felt like a weight pressing down on their shoulders. The message from the Galactic Empire had been clear: submit or face destruction. But humanity had never been one to kneel without a fight. General Turner stood before the council, his face hard with determination. The Empire demands tribute, but we don't know what that means. We can't just give them what they ask for. If we do, we risk becoming their subjects forever. We may never get the chance to fight back. Kira, who had been working tirelessly to analyze the alien fleet's capabilities, turned to face the group. We have limited data. Their fleet is far superior to ours in firepower and size, but their true motivations remain unclear. Are they after our resources, our technology, or something else? We've been exiled for centuries. Why have they come back now? We can't risk making the wrong move. The room fell silent. The weight of the situation was clear. There were no easy answers. Earth had never faced a threat like this before in the past. Humanity had fought against invading forces, alien species, rogue warlords, even natural disasters. But the Galactic Empire wasn't just another invader. It was an ancient, vast, and powerful force. Surrendering could mean losing Earth's freedom forever. But resisting could lead to utter annihilation. Do we really have a choice? One of the military advisors, Captain Harlow, asked. The Empire has demonstrated its strength. They could wipe us out in seconds. Even with our best weapons, we can't match their firepower. General Turner nodded, but his expression didn't soften. I know the odds are against us, but I've been through enough wars to know that fear is the enemy we can't afford to fight. If we show them that we're willing to resist, they may rethink their strategy. Maybe we can buy enough time to organize our forces and find a way to fight back. Kira spoke again, her voice quiet but filled with urgency. I agree with General Turner. We cannot simply accept submission, but we must also consider the risks. If we engage without understanding the full extent of their power, we could end up facing an enemy we're not prepared to defeat. We need a plan that can allow us to hold our ground at least long enough to buy time for a more strategic response. The council murmured among themselves, the tension thick in the air. Humanity's path was unclear, and their decision would have consequences far beyond their world. What they did now would echo throughout the galaxy. After a tense silence, President Collins, who had been observing quietly from the back of the room, stood up. She was the leader of Earth's unified government, and her decision would set the course for everything that followed. I agree that we can't just bow down to their demands, but we also can't afford to be reckless, she said, her voice steady but filled with the weight of leadership. We've always known that one day we might face a challenge like this. We can't be naive and think that we can win just by fighting. But we also can't be so afraid that we don't take a stand. She turned toward General Turner. What do you propose, General? How do we fight? Turner's gaze didn't waver. We start by showing them we are willing to defend our world. We send a message. We send a fleet to engage with them just enough to make them understand that we won't be intimidated. We can't win this battle alone, but we can buy time. Kira nodded, adding, we should also deploy our best scientists and engineers. If the Empire truly has come for something specific, we need to learn what that is. We may need to use Earth's resources to our advantage in ways that they don't expect. The council was silent as they absorbed the plan. It was risky, it was bold, but it was a chance for humanity to show the galaxy that Earth would not just lie down and die. This was their world, and they had earned the right to protect it. We're all in agreement. Then, President Collins said, we will send a message. We will resist, but we will also be strategic. We will prepare our forces and focus on buying time for the long-term defense of our planet. With the decision made, the room was filled with a renewed sense of purpose. Humanity had chosen its path. They would not be slaves to the Empire. They would not fall without a fight. The world's leaders moved swiftly to implement the plan, organizing Earth's military forces for a response, while Kira and her team began working on understanding the Empire's technology and motives. Meanwhile, the alien fleet continued to hover above, waiting for Earth's answer. The time for hesitation was over. The fate of Earth was now in motion. General Turner and Kira knew that the battle ahead would not be an easy one. The Empire was ruthless, and their power was beyond anything humanity had faced before. But the humans had one thing that the Empire could never understand: the fire to survive, the will to fight for freedom, and the unbreakable spirit of a species that had been cast aside and forgotten for far too long. The countdown had begun. The galaxy would soon learn that humanity was not a species to be underestimated, and Earth, once a forgotten world, was ready to rise again. Run while you still can, the Empire had warned. But humanity's response was clear: we will not run. We will fight. The fight begins. Humanity's defiance response from the Galactic Empire came swiftly. The dark, imposing ships continued to hover over Earth, casting an ominous shadow across the planet. But beneath that shadow, humanity had already begun to prepare for what was to come. The quiet decision to stand up, to resist, had already set the wheels of war in motion. The world's military and scientific forces had rallied behind the leader's decision, ready to face an empire far beyond their capabilities. General Turner, standing at the head of Earth's unified military command, reviewed the latest intelligence reports. The alien fleet was massive, more than 30 ships, each one a fortress of destruction. They had arrived with the intent to collect tribute, but Earth had refused to submit. Now, the situation had escalated, and Earth's military was about to face an enemy far superior in numbers, technology, and experience. We're not going to stop them with sheer force, General Turner muttered, his fingers tracing the holographic map of the alien fleet's position. But we can't afford to back down. If we show them we're willing to fight, they'll have to take us seriously. Across the globe, millions of soldiers and civilians prepared for what could be the fight of their lives. Earth's cities, once thriving centers of commerce and culture, were now fortified bastions. The humans had no illusions about the scale of the challenge ahead. Their enemy was technologically advanced and relentless. But Earth's greatest strength lay not in their weapons, but in their resolve. At the same time, Kira and her team of scientists worked tirelessly to understand the alien ship's systems and technology. The message from the Empire had been clear: submit or perish. But Kira was convinced that the Empire's arrogance, believing that Earth had no means of resistance, had given humanity a slim but significant advantage. Their fleets might be superior, but they were overconfident, and overconfidence, Kira knew, was often a species' greatest flaw. We need to get their weaknesses, Kira said to her team as they scanned the alien ship's transmissions. They may be technologically superior, but their overconfidence could be their downfall. If we can infiltrate their communications and find a vulnerability, we might stand a chance. Back in the war room, General Turner addressed the global military commanders. We're facing an enemy with far superior firepower, but we've learned over the centuries that the strength of any force is not just in its weapons, but in its will to fight. This isn't just about Earth defending itself. This is about humanity proving that we belong here, that we won't be forgotten again. We'll fight until the last man, woman, and child, if it comes to that. The world watched as the first human ships were launched into space. These weren't massive fleets of warships, but nimble, highly maneuverable ships designed to engage in hit-and-run tactics. Their strength lay in speed, stealth, and the ability to adapt on the fly. The alien fleet, though enormous, had no experience in fighting a species that fought in the shadows. The first clash came faster than expected. Earth's fleet moved quickly, striking first. Their weapons, although not as advanced as those of the alien ships, were powerful in their own right. The first few alien ships were disabled with surprising speed, their shields cracked open by carefully targeted fire. Humanity had taken the first step in the battle, but it was clear that the real fight was just beginning. General, we've taken down 2 ships, reported Captain Harlow, a seasoned officer who had spent his life preparing for this kind of war, but we're getting hit hard. They're regrouping. General Turner's expression remained stoic as he absorbed the information. Good work, Captain. Keep them on the move. Don't let them regroup. We've only got one shot at this. As Earth's fleet continued to engage, Kira and her team had made a breakthrough. They had successfully infiltrated the alien fleet's communication network and discovered a weakness, one that Earth's engineers could exploit. The Empire's ships, though powerful, relied on a central control system to manage their weapons and shields. If they could target that system, the ships would be left vulnerable. Even if only for a brief moment. Their central control system is based on a single point, Kira explained as she rushed to Turner's command center. If we can disable that system in the next wave, we can neutralize a significant portion of their fleet. It's our best shot, then we take it, Turner said, his voice firm. We've got nothing to lose. With the new strategy in place, the humans launched their next wave of attacks. This time, they struck with precision, targeting the central control systems of the alien ships. The Empire's ships, once unstoppable, now faltered. They began to lose their cohesion, their once perfect formation breaking apart as their central Control systems were compromised. For a brief moment, humanity's forces had the upper hand. The Empire's arrogance had clouded their judgment, and the humans had seized the opportunity. But the battle was far from won. The Empire quickly adapted, and its retaliatory strikes were brutal. As the alien fleet began to regroup, General Turner turned to his officers. "We've done something they didn't expect. But we need to keep up the pressure. If we give them time to recover, we'll lose this advantage. We push harder now." The battle raged on. Humanity's fleet taking blows but refusing to back down. With each passing hour, the hope for victory grew. This was more than just a fight for Earth, it was a battle for humanity's place in the galaxy. Kira's voice came through the comms. "We're getting closer. We've identified their central weak point. Once we strike it, they'll be finished." But just as hope seemed within reach, the Empire's fleet launched one final, desperate counterattack. Their full force was bearing down on Earth's forces, and this time, they were ready. The aliens were no longer underestimating humanity. They had finally recognized the true threat Earth posed. Humanity's first true battle had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The question now was not if humanity could survive it, was whether they could stand strong long enough to win. The Empire demanded tribute. Earth's answer was clear: run while you still can. The Empire strikes back, a brutal response after the initial shock of humanity's bold resistance. The galaxy's most powerful empire was no longer blind to Earth's capabilities. The first wave of human attacks had rattled the Empire's confidence, but the aliens were far from defeated. The galaxy's dominant power, with centuries of military experience and vast technological superiority, would not be humbled so easily. A retaliatory strike was inevitable. In the heart of the Empire's fleet, Zorith, the Supreme Commander, stood before a massive holographic projection of Earth's system. His expression was cold, calculating, and filled with an unyielding fury. The humans had embarrassed the Empire, taking two of their most powerful ships and striking at the heart of their military control. They had crossed a line. It was time for the Empire to make an example of Earth. "Prepare the fleet," Zorith commanded. "We will show them the cost of defying us." The humans think they can challenge the galaxy's greatest empire, but they are about to learn how wrong they are. "I will not allow Earth to remain standing." Zorith's fleet, which had once seemed invincible, now prepared for an all-out assault. The massive warships, with their advanced weaponry and impenetrable shields, began to move in sync, the tremors of their approach shaking the very fabric of space around Earth. The humans had been a nuisance, but now they would be eradicated. With force back on Earth, General Turner and his military commanders knew this was coming. The victory they had claimed in the first battle had been hard-earned, but it had made them a target. The alien fleet was regrouping and preparing a response. They were about to experience the true power of the Empire, and the challenge was unlike anything they had faced before. "We have no choice," General Turner said to his officers as they prepared for the inevitable. "We've already shown them what we're capable of, but now we need to think strategically. We need to make sure we stay mobile, hit them where it hurts, and then disappear. We can't afford a head-on battle." Kira, standing beside him, added, "We need to target their supply lines. We've seen that the Empire is heavily dependent on their resources, so we'll go after their weakest points. We can't beat them with firepower alone, but we can disrupt their infrastructure." But as they prepared, Earth's military forces were not naive. The Empire's response was swift, and it came with terrifying force. Within hours, the first of the alien dreadnoughts arrived in Earth's orbit. These massive warships dwarfed anything humanity had ever seen. Their weapons could level entire continents, and their shields could withstand the most powerful blows. A single ship from the Empire could decimate entire fleets of human warships. "Brace for impact," shouted Commander Harlow as the first salvo of alien missiles flew toward Earth's defenses. The space above the planet exploded into chaos as the alien ships opened fire. Each missile streaked toward Earth with deadly precision, their warheads primed to break through human shields. General Turner watched the chaos unfold on the digital display. The initial attack was devastating. Earth's defense systems, while formidable, were no match for the Empire's overwhelming firepower. Cities and space, Earth's colonies and military outposts were hit first, their shields failing under the weight of the assault. "We're losing ground fast," Lieutenant Kara said, her voice tight with concern. "Their ships are just too powerful. We can't stop them with our current defenses." But even as the alien fleet pressed forward, humanity's resolve was unwavering. They might be outmatched, but they were not ready to give up. General Turner turned to his officers, his expression filled with determination. "We'll fight back. We'll strike back where they least expect it. We won't let them take Earth without a fight. We may not have their strength, but we have our cunning. They've made one mistake already. They've underestimated us." Across Earth, The people of the planet, knowing they were now part of a galaxy-shaking conflict, banded together. Military forces scrambled to repair shields, re-establish defense lines, and retaliate against the Empire's powerful fleet. Earth had lost several colonies, but they were not defeated. In space, humanity's remaining fleet regrouped, preparing for a final strike. The human ships, though smaller and fewer in number, moved swiftly, taking advantage of their agility and maneuverability. They launched a series of hit-and-run attacks, striking at the edges of the alien fleet and then disappearing into the blackness of space before the Empire could retaliate. But the Empire was relentless. The Zorith Empire, despite its earlier losses, began to reorganize, sending wave after wave of ships to crush Earth's defenses. The full might of the Empire was coming and humanity was outmatched, but the humans had a secret weapon, a final plan that had been years in the making. Kira turned to General Turner. "We've reached the point where we need to use everything we've got. It's time for the ultimate strike." General Turner nodded. "Activate the secret weapon. We have no choice. If we're going to survive, we need to hit them where they least expect it, in the depths of Earth's military command." A hidden force prepared for deployment, a new, powerful weapon developed in secret. This weapon, a hybrid of human ingenuity and alien technology, had the potential to turn the tide in the battle against the Empire. As the alien fleet closed in, ready to deliver the final blow, the humans launched their last-ditch effort. The weapon, designed to disrupt the alien ship's shields and central control systems, activated. For the first time, the Empire's advanced fleet found itself vulnerable, its defenses failing under the human weapon's power. Humanity had given everything. They had fought against an impossible force, but they were not ready to fall. The Empire's strike had been brutal, but Earth's fight had only just begun. With the final weapon deployed and their forces regrouped, the human fleet took one last stand against the alien invaders. The Empire had underestimated humanity, and now the tables had turned. The fight for Earth's survival was far from over, but humanity had shown that they were no longer the powerless species that had been forgotten. They were a force to be reckoned with. The battle for the future of the galaxy had just begun. The secret weapon, humanity's last hope. The Zorith Empire had underestimated humanity. They had thought that with their vast, overwhelming force, they could crush the small, insignificant planet without hesitation. But what they didn't know was that humanity had been preparing for this moment for years, quietly in the shadows. While the galaxy's empires bickered among themselves, Earth's greatest weapon wasn't just its resilience, it was its ingenuity, its ability to turn adversity into strength. As the alien fleet continued to strike down humanity's remaining defenses, General Turner stood resolute on the bridge of his flagship, the Freedom's Edge. The holographic map of the alien fleet displayed the approaching doom, the dark ship swarming toward Earth's last line of defense. Earth's military might was being overwhelmed, and even the most optimistic commanders had begun to accept the gravity of their situation. But General Turner wasn't ready to give up. He had a plan, one that could change the tide of the war. The weapon humanity had kept hidden for so long was their only hope if they could deploy it in time. "We need to buy more time," Turner said, his voice commanding. "Give us 2 hours and we'll turn this around. I'll make sure our forces hold the line." Kira, standing beside him, looked at him with unwavering determination. 2 hours, General? We've lost half of our orbital stations. If the Empire hits our last defense grid, it'll be over." "I know," he said, glancing at the map. "But this is what we've prepared for. We don't have a choice. The Empire's arrogance has given us an opening. We use everything we have left. This is our final stand, far below the surface, in a hidden facility beneath Earth's surface." The final preparations were underway. The weapon was ready, a hybrid of alien technology and human innovation that could pierce through even the most advanced shields. It wasn't a weapon of mass destruction. It was something much more dangerous. It was a weapon designed to disrupt and disable, to leave the enemy's forces vulnerable long enough for humanity to take control. Kira's team of scientists had worked tirelessly to perfect it, a weapon that would overload the alien fleet's energy systems and bring their ships to a halt. It wasn't foolproof, but it was their only chance. In the control room of the underground facility, Kira's voice echoed as she gave the order. "Activate the disruption device. We don't have time to waste. Prepare for deployment." With a single command, the massive, hidden facility's power systems began to hum to life. The weapon, an intricate network of technology that combined alien energy manipulation and human engineering, began to pulse with energy. Earth's final hope was now in motion. The device, once hidden deep within the planet's core, was set to send a massive pulse into space, directly targeting the alien fleet's central control systems. As the countdown clock ticked away, the human fleet fought with every ounce of strength they had left. Their ships maneuvered through space with stunning agility, launching smaller, faster attacks to buy precious moments, but the enemy's retaliation was brutal. Their massive ships bearing down with overwhelming force. Earth's defense lines were buckling under the pressure, and the aliens knew it was only a matter of time before they would claim victory. But just as the Zorith Empire prepared to strike the final blow, something unexpected happened. The pulse from the disruption weapon shot out across space, hitting the heart of the Empire's fleet. The effect was immediate and devastating. The Empire's central control systems began to flicker and fail. Their shields, once thought impenetrable, began to destabilize, and their weapon systems went offline. The mighty fleet, which had been so close to victory, was now vulnerable. Alien warships that had once been unstoppable were now drifting aimlessly, their power grids overloaded and their engines sputtering. "We did it." Kira breathed in disbelief. "It's working, they're losing power." General Turner stood still for a moment, his heart racing with hope. "This is it, they won't recover in time." Push forward now hit them hard. The human fleet, reinvigorated by the sudden shift in power, surged forward with a new purpose. Their ships, smaller and faster, moved like shadows, striking with precision at the exposed alien ships. The Empire's forces, disoriented and scrambling to regain control, were easy targets for humanity's advanced, coordinated attacks. The balance of power had shifted. For the first time in the conflict, the humans had the upper hand. As the battle raged on, the Empire's fleet began to break apart, unable to fight back effectively. Human warships, once outmatched and on the defensive, now controlled the space around Earth. They had done the impossible, they had turned the tide. But General Turner knew they couldn't stop now. The Empire had been wounded, but they were still a powerful force. Earth had proven it could stand up to them, but the war wasn't over yet. The alien empire would regroup, and the fight for humanity's survival was far from finished. "We've won the battle," Turner said, his voice calm but resolute. "But this war is just beginning. We have to keep pushing, we're not done yet." The humans had achieved the unthinkable, but their victory was only the beginning. The Empire was wounded, but not defeated. The galaxy would soon realize that humanity, once a forgotten species, had risen, and now, Earth's place in the universe would be determined by its strength, its resolve, and its ability to fight back against the greatest empire the stars had ever known. The first move had been made, but the future of humanity was still in the balance, and Earth would not be forgotten again. The final stand, Earth's new beginning. The dust of battle had settled, but the echoes of war still lingered in the air. Humanity had pulled off the impossible. They had crippled the might of the Galactic Empire, taking down the invincible fleet that had come to demand their tribute. The disruption weapon, a last-ditch effort in a battle for survival, had worked. The Empire was reeling, but not yet defeated, and Earth, though victorious for now, knew the true test was yet to come. General Turner stood on the command deck of the Freedom's Edge, staring at the starlit void of space. The alien ships that once threatened to decimate Earth now floated like broken shells, incapacitated and drifting helplessly in space. The human fleet, though battered, had emerged stronger than ever. The victory was monumental, but it was only one step in a much larger, more dangerous game. "We've proven they can be beaten," General Turner said, his voice filled with a quiet confidence. "But now, we need to take control. The galaxy will not let us go easily." Kira, standing beside him, nodded, her gaze fixed on the view outside the ship's window. "The Empire may be down, but the other galactic powers are watching. They'll be waiting for the right moment to strike back, and that's why we have to move fast," Turner replied. "We can't afford to sit back and wait for them to regroup. We need to show the galaxy that Earth is no longer a forgotten world. It's a force to be reckoned with. We take the offensive." Earth's victory had sent shockwaves through the galaxy. What had once been a faint hope, a whispered legend of a species abandoned by the stars, was now undeniable. Humanity was not only surviving, it was rising. The battle for survival was far from over. But Earth's place in the galaxy was no longer uncertain. They had carved a path that would shape the future of the universe. Meanwhile, in the heart of the Zorith Empire, the leaders convened in their war room. The humiliation of their defeat had stung the Empire's pride deeply. Their once great fleet was decimated, and their plans for Earth's tribute had failed. But the Zorith Empire was nothing if not resilient, and its leaders were already plotting their next move. Zorith stood before his council, his voice low and filled with fury. "The humans have struck a blow, but they will not win this war. We will regroup, we will rebuild, and we will take Earth. This time, we will not underestimate them." A senior advisor, his face hardened by years of war, spoke up. "The humans are stronger than we thought, Zorith. Their resilience is unmatched. They are organized. They adapt quickly. We need to rethink our strategy." Zorith's gaze hardened. We will strike harder, faster. The humans will learn that their defiance comes with consequences. As the Empire began to regroup, the once immovable powers of the galaxy were forced to consider the rising human empire. Other species, once content to stay in the background, began to take notice. Earth had become a symbol of defiance and a growing threat to the status quo. Back on Earth, the military's efforts to rebuild their forces were underway. General Turner, though exhausted, knew that this moment in history was crucial. The next steps were just as important as the first battle. The enemy had been caught off guard once, but they would not be caught again. We need to consolidate power, Turner said to Kira as they gathered in the war room. We've proven we can fight back, but now we need allies. We can't win this alone. Kira, ever the strategist, nodded. We need to form alliances, not just with other species who share our values, but with those who fear the Empire's domination. The galaxy is full of factions that want to see the Empire fall. If we unite them, we'll stand a chance. Turning to the holographic map of the galaxy, General Turner surveyed the alien empires that still held power, each one more dangerous than the last. But there was one thing that had become clear to him: the galaxy was no longer as unified as it once seemed. Humanity's rise had caused rifts, and now it was up to Earth to exploit those fractures. We have to take the fight to the Empire's heart, Turner said, a new fire in his eyes. Their control over the galaxy has lasted for millennia, but their grip is weakening. We can be the catalyst for the change the galaxy needs, but to do that, we need to keep pushing forward. The decision was made. Humanity would forge alliances with the galaxy's lesser-known factions, promising them a place in the new order that was emerging. The time had come to build an empire of their own, a galactic empire that would not be a puppet of the old powers, but a force that would reshape the entire universe. Earth's first battle was over, but the real war was just beginning, with the Empire on the defensive. Humanity's chance to rise and take control of its destiny had never been clearer. They had shown the galaxy that they were no longer just survivors, they were conquerors, innovators, and leaders. The future was unwritten. But humanity's place at the head of the galaxy was no longer a distant dream, it was a reality. The last fight for Earth's survival had begun, and Earth was ready. This was just the beginning. The galaxy would never be the same, and Earth, once forgotten and exiled, would now be the power that everyone would have to reckon with.